Okay, everybody, thank you once again for joining us for the fourth in a series of webinars at Scottish Golf that we run in conjunction with our colleagues at the GEO Foundation for Sustainable Golf. Some quick intros for those of you who don't know me. My name's Ian McFarlane, and I'm the Club Services and Media Officer at Scottish Golf, and I'll be hosting today's webinar. Just a few points of housekeeping. There's the option for you to put some questions in the chat function if there's anything that you want to ask as we go along. I can either pick it up as we go along or when there's a suitable break and towards the end of the presentation. Oh, the lights have just gone out in the Scottish Golf boardroom here, which is always handy. I need to move about so that they stay on. If you think of a question as we go along, then please jot it down and we'll pick it up. We're also recording this session and it'll be available to watch again in the coming days on the Scottish Golf website. Today's session will once again be led by Robbie Fitzpatrick from the GEO Foundation. Robbie and the GEO team work closely with Scottish Golf to help support clubs and provide best practice guidance. And also joining Robbie today is Rahima White from St Andrews University and Mo Mans from Gleneagles, who each have a valuable contribution to make to today's discussion, which centres around the topic of using sustainability to strengthen community bonds. Okay, I think that's enough from me in the dark here at Scottish Golf HQ. I'll hand you over to Robbie to lead us through the session. Robbie?
Excellent, thank you, Ian. Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending again. This will be the fourth webinar in our series on building a sustainable golf club. For those of you who weren't able to attend the previous webinars, I'm Dr. Robbie Fitzpatrick. After completing an RNA-funded PhD on sustainability transitions in golf, I joined GEO Foundation just under 2 years ago as the Innovation and Impacts Lead. The first 3 webinars really showed that sustainability is integral to operating an effective business and can help a golf club to find efficiencies, cut costs, and future-proof their golf course landscape. This webinar is going to delve a bit deeper into generating some of the cross-cutting community and business benefits that can be found through sustainability. We'll begin with a very brief introduction to GEO Foundation, and then we'll delve into some of the main sustainability challenges facing golf courses in Scotland. We'll then consider some of the social, economic, and community benefits of golf, as well as how the game can start to play an increasingly important role as we work towards a sustainable Scotland. I'll then invite Dr. Rahima White, Senior Lecturer in Sustainable Development at the University at St Andrews, and also a very supportive and patient supervisor, to offer some insights on the link between sustainability, participation, and health in golf. Mo Mans, Director of Sustainability at Gleneagles, will then explain some of the practical steps that they are taking to enhance their community and social value through the concept of sustainability. We'll then consider some further examples of how golf clubs of any size and budget can use sustainability to generate these social and community co-benefits, before concluding with some information on the tools and support that are available to you. So very briefly, GEO Foundation are an international non-profit. We're founded about 18 years ago to support golf and strengthening and safeguarding the future of the game. We do this through a range of tools, strategies, guidance, communications, and advocacy for golf developments, facilities, and tournaments around the world. And this is really delivered through a range of programs, partnerships, and participants in over 75 countries. We'll delve into some of these tools and programs when we cover the support that's available. And you can also find out more via the sustainable.golf website or also the Scottish Golf website as well. So we'll very briefly cover some of the main sustainability challenges facing golf in Scotland. We have covered this in more depth in the previous webinars, so I would encourage you to go back if you would like some further information. We've got a lot to cover today, so I want to just kind of skim over this a bit. So climate change is the main sustainability challenge that we're facing, and that's driven primarily through greenhouse gas emissions, land system change, and rising temperatures, also known as global warming. And this is a critical challenge for golf clubs, and it's also one of the greatest crises in human history. This climate strip that you can see appearing in your screen was compiled from the University of Oxford's climate records, and it shows the progression of mean annual global temperature from 1815 to 2018, and it's one of the longest running records in the world. And as you can see on the far right, the world has been warming really significantly since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and especially significantly over the last 50 years. This has a number of impacts, most notably in terms of the increasing frequency and severity of storms, extreme weather, and also the ensuing social and organisational impacts it's having on our communities and businesses. You can see here that climate change, as I mentioned, is is resulting in changing weather patterns, and it's already having a large impact on communities across Scotland. These predictions that you can see on your screen were modelled by a world-leading research institute based in Scotland, and they show that we're likely to see warmer, wetter winters, drier, hotter summers, and therefore ever-increasing climatic challenges for golf courses heading into the future. On the left-hand side, you'll see that we're looking at around a 2 to 4 degree increase in mean monthly maximum temperature from 2020 to 2049, and a 4 to 8 degree increase in mean monthly maximum temperature between 2050 and 2079. Likewise, on the right-hand side, we're looking at around a 50% increase in precipitation in winter over the next 50 years, coinciding with a 25% decrease in the summer months. And these changing weather patterns are having relatively severe impacts on running an effective and efficient golf business. And focusing particularly in Scotland, again, we're seeing more winter storms, more intense periods of rain and drought, increased risk of flooding and coastal erosion, and changing patterns of pest and disease pressure. And of course, the need to really address these challenges in the context of increasing regulation, rising operational costs, and ever tighter budgets at the same time. And the sheer extent of these impacts was illustrated in a recent survey that was conducted by Sporting Insights on behalf of the RNA. This had around 930 responses from golf courses around the UK. And as we can see, the main impacts and challenges can all be attributed to environmental and climatic pressures. On the left-hand side, you can see flooding and waterlogging, rising costs of consumables, rising energy costs, and likewise on the right-hand side, on the biggest challenges, operational costs, staff costs, high demand from golfers. So, what role can golf play in a sustainable Scotland on the back of these sustainability challenges? How are the government responding, and where can golf play a part in that? So, as these challenges begin to impact every aspect of our societies, of our economies, and our communities, the Scottish Government have developed a strong focus on the link between the health of the environment and our own personal and collective well-being. So in 2022, Scotland joined the Wellbeing Economy Government's network alongside Canada, Finland, Iceland, New Zealand, and Wales to really bring these well-being approaches into policymaking and start to make progress on meeting the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which I'm sure Rahima will cover a bit later. And as part of this work, the government have committed to taking a much wider view of social and economic progress and are currently working on introducing new indicators of development alongside traditional approaches like GDP or economic growth, as you typically see it on the news. This is really an important statement of intent from the Scottish Government, as GDP, which is essentially growth in the production and consumption of goods and services each year, can be quite a poor proxy for social and environmental health in society. An oil spill, for example, can boost GDP because it counts as progress, because it generates jobs and more economic activity. So that strategy is really trying to introduce a new well-being economy monitor for Scotland, and really expand on how we measure and understand prosperity and progress, and will include indicators for healthy life expectancy, mental and physical health, and also biodiversity in nature as well. So really, there's a more of a movement in Scotland towards a broader, more holistic understanding of social and community progress. As mentioned in the previous webinar, this strategy, amongst others, places a really strong emphasis on the land-based economy. Biodiversity and nature-based solutions are typically considered a key driver of this environmental, social, and economic progress that we're looking at, as are typically more cost-effective, longer-lasting, and multifunctional in terms of the value and benefits that they offer for communities. For instance, supporting and investing in green infrastructure, such as woodlands, wetlands, parks, community allotments, and golf courses in many places, can provide co-benefits that help to provide habitat, reduce emissions, expand our carbon sinks, build resilience to climate change, generate greener jobs, and also support our mental and physical health and create more healthy, enjoyable places to live, work, and play. And this transition is opening a unique and highly exciting opportunity for golf. In many respects, our courses and clubs are a unique context where the environment and our economies and our communities can thrive together. And there's really significant potential to start to understand, view, evolve, and apply golf courses as a nature-based solution, helping to protect and restore landscapes in a way that simultaneously improves our own health, stimulates the economy, and enriches communities. So, big question are, what are some of these community benefits that we can look to improve and communicate as a sector? So I'm now going to invite Dr. Rima White to speak a bit more on the link between sustainability and aspects like participation in health.
Thanks very much, Robbie. Yeah, so I'm delighted to be asked back. We've done some research here at the University of St Andrews with Robbie and also with other colleagues looking at sustainability and golf. Next slide, please. So yes, as Robbie outlined, we have real issues at the moment considering climate change and considering biodiversity loss. And of course, these effects are often felt more strongly by the more vulnerable in society. And the more unequal our society is, the more we have to address this in different kinds of ways. But we've talked about that, so I'm going to go straight on to the next slide. So, sustainable development is our pathways towards sustainability, and it basically recognizes that what we're aiming for are healthy, resilient ecosystems and environment which enable us to have socially just and healthy societies. And these things are interlinked, as Robbie has been saying. Sustainable development is also very much around intergenerational thinking, about thinking into the long term and being able to anticipate what future demands might be. And it's about supporting prosperity and well being. And we often talk about well being, not just of people, but of the planet as well. So, if we think of the golfing context, that means very much thinking about people being out active in nature. It means thinking about heritage as well as thinking forward, thinking about the buildings and the infrastructure in our golf courses, thinking about the renewable energy, but also thinking, of course, about how we manage our landscapes and how we manage at a micro level and how we support people to in nature connectedness and the benefits that can bring. Next slide, please. So there are different models that we can think about sustainable development and sustainability. And at the university here, we particularly like this model, which talks about the fact that as a planet, we have these limits, these environmental limits. And currently, we're kind of going beyond the boundaries of our planet. So our impacts are really significant. So we don't want to burst beyond that ecological ceiling, but we also don't want to fall below the social foundation and allow people to be negatively affected through, for example, gender inequalities, housing issues, etc. Next slide, please. A model that most of you will probably be familiar with are the Sustainable Development Goals. And I don't myself feel that this entirely describes what sustainable development is, but I think it's a really useful way to demonstrate to people the kind of scope of issues we're dealing with and again, how they are interrelated. So people may not be surprised to see no poverty here and no hunger, good health, but also to see that we're concerned around industry infrastructure. We're concerned about building sustainable communities. We're concerned around responsible consumption and so on. Can be a useful way to articulate the scope of this issue. Next slide, please. There are a number of tools as well if you are interested in looking at sustainable development goals and how you want to measure them if they're useful for your golf course or your golf club. So when we start talking about the social aspects and we start talking about engaging and benefiting communities and with regard to the golf sector, there's a question here around who is the community. So obviously for many of us, the immediate community are club members, club staff, and their families. But sometimes we think about the local residential communities and the effect we can have on them as well. So here where I am in Fife, people are always walking past the links golf courses, and many of them have additional facilities which local communities can benefit from. Some golf courses very much function by having visiting course players. Many of these are repeat visitors. And so they then provide a community of interest, which is actually quite dispersed around the world in many cases. So when we're talking about the golf sector, sometimes we talk about the community of practice, all golfers, and what they're actually interested in, or the golf sector more widely, including perhaps those who are concerned around marketing or tours or coaching, etc. So it's not always clearly defined who the community actually is, and it's worthwhile if you have an initiative ongoing to think about it in a particular context. Next slide, please. And of course, that will mean slightly different things for golf and health. When we talk about health, we are often really meaning well being. We're going beyond the clinical and medical aspects of ill health and thinking about human beings in a much wider sense, including mental health and a sense of fulfillment. Golf has a really big role to play in addressing some of the lifestyle and structural contexts. At the moment in our society, we're facing high levels of obesity and malnutrition, high levels of stress, which cause coronary and inflammatory responses. And we need to be really careful that we're providing people with tools to go beyond that. Next slide, please. So, if we want to think about golf and health in particular, there are possibly three ways we might want to articulate this. One is the very obvious one of physical health. If you're walking around a golf course and you're playing a game of golf, you're being active, you're out there getting your steps up. But actually, we know that the swing has additional benefits. And for those who are actually carrying their own clubs, or at least some of their clubs, there's a weight bearing facility, which is also very beneficial for older people in particular. But golf also supports mental health, and there's an issue here. Hazel, come. Sorry, my dog is just going ballistic. Just 1 second. Hazel, come. I do apologize. That's the postie arriving. Bad timing. So we're also talking about mental health, and that includes social inclusion. So for many people, particularly again, older people or those who have retired, actually being able to engage in the golf club is a really important part of their life. Golf is something that requires focus. It requires a strategic focus. And so thinking about mindfulness is important and it gives a sense of purpose. And the third aspect is nature. We know that exercise in nature is more beneficial than exercise outside of nature, and that the more one engages with nature, the more benefits people can get to both their physical and their mental health. Next slide. When we think about golf and health, we're also talking about and social aspects of sustainability. A really big issue is thinking about participation. This is sometimes called engagement, but although they're slightly different things. And there are three different ways in which I'd like to just point to this in this webinar. The first is sports participation. We want to try and get more people to play golf so that they can benefit from golf, and different kinds of people, older people and younger people who can benefit from the sport. And the second one is the social participation in health, and that's allowing people to get different health benefits from or from the golf course or the golf club in its wider setting, including additional activities. And the third is participation as an aspect of golf governance. And I want to talk a little bit further to that just now. Next slide, please. So in terms of participation in golf governance, there's been a real shift in many different sectors to engaging people more for discussion. And there's three real reasons why this can be really beneficial. The first is that if you have greater participation of people and engagement of people across your different kinds of communities, you can improve the quality of information received. For example, when do you want to play? What's important to you when you play? What can the golf cover club offer you? You can offer a much better facility. You can enhance buy-in to decisions made. So if you have to make sustainability decisions, you can understand, people might understand this a little bit better. And you can support mutual understanding. So particularly if you have a golf club or a course or a part of the sector where people have quite strong different views, you can enhance their ability to work together. Next slide, please. If you are trying to engage people in golf, though, people get a bit fed up if you're sending them surveys all the time. And so it's important to think about engaging people in the right way at the right time. And we have this kind of scale we talk about. Sometimes you just want to tell them something's happening. Sometimes you want to consult. Sometimes you want to really involve people in a big decision that needs to be made. And at times you might actually want to empower people and hand over a lot of the agency to be able to address a particular issue, for example, biodiversity monitoring to local communities. And it's important to think about which community are you tackling about? What is the issue you want to engage people around, particularly if it's around personal health issues? and which level of participation is important. Next slide, please. So I've rattled through some different issues in relation to social sustainability in particular. I really think sustainable development is a route to expand the horizons of golf. It can really benefit golf, and golf can also benefit aspects of sustainability. It's really important that the sector understands the well-being that different communities can engage in different way, and that the greater engagement and the discussion with these different golfing communities can confer mutual advantages. And I'll hand back to you now, Robbie.
That's excellent. Thank you very much, Rahima. I thought that was just a really interesting way to think about participation, not just in terms of player participation, but involvement at different aspects of club and course management. I think that's really important. I think maybe Mo will discuss this, and I'll certainly cover it later in the webinar about how golf courses are starting to build greater voice around some of their initiatives and build more of those community relations. So just very quickly before I hand off to Mo, I just wanted to cover and touch on some of the social and health benefits that Rahima mentioned, and also how golf courses are evolving to enhance those aspects of their product and service offering. So firstly, health and well-being. We all know that golf services around 80 million golfers around the world, and they benefit through lifelong intergenerational physical, emotional, and health benefits. And we're seeing more and more of those efforts to boost participation across different demographics, ages, and abilities. And Scottish Golf have done some fantastic work around player participation and engagement. Similarly, just through the very offering of the game. Golf can sometimes be serious, but it's often more friendly competition, and it has a level playing field that allows people of different backgrounds, ages, and abilities to compete fairly. It allows people to stay active for longer, spending more time in nature. And as studies have actually shown that golfers can tend to live longer, and in some places, participation is now actually considered as a preventative treatment and helping to take pressure off of health services at the same time. And finally, on the right-hand side, skilled and diverse career opportunities. Golf's a really important employer, a source of livelihood and inward investment for many communities, particularly in rural areas. And we're seeing more and more efforts to use sustainability to attract staff, enhance their professional development for club managers, course managers, club professionals, catering and bar staff, and the many others that are directly employed by golf clubs. Likewise, with outreach and inclusion, we're seeing more efforts to improve the multifunctionality of golf course landscapes, allowing local community members to benefit from access to recreational space, both on and around the golf course. And that could be for things like walking, cycling, jogging, bird watching, horse riding, all those sorts of things. And we're also seeing a stronger emphasis on wider ecosystem services provided by golf green spaces. Golf is a great way of helping with air cooling, shelter and shade, air purification, noise abatement, flood alleviation, because we really pay to play around biodiverse hazards and non-play areas. So golf actually has an economic model to support those ecosystem services in and around urban areas like big towns and cities and mega cities. And more golf courses are collaborating with local community groups as well, helping to benefit through donated tea times, charity fundraisers, and other forms of outdoor education. And through these contributions, golf can have a quite substantial cause-based impact in support of environmental and also human health and social projects. And finally, we're seeing more golf courses begin to show leadership on sustainability and climate action. As a world-renowned sport that really depends on is improved through nature, many clubs are taking steps to educate their members, engage and inspire the local community, and also just really build a brighter future for everyone in society. And just very quickly, we covered this in the first webinar, but we're seeing golf courses actually use sustainability and a strategic focus on the environment to strengthen these community and business benefits. So by prioritizing the environment, I would encourage you to, well, we will re-record the first webinar, go back to that webinar, and just that illustrates just how prioritizing the environment it can help to mitigate climate change and future-proof your business. It can help to cut costs, but it also allows you to appeal to a different demographic of players. It also helps you to attract, retain, and upskill staff and volunteers. You can build a more meaningful relationship with the local community if you show them that you're doing good stuff and you want to involve them. And it also helps you to gain recognition and actually start to market the sustainability progress that you're making at your golf facility. So with that, I'm going to now hand over to Mo Mans, who's Director of Sustainability at Gleneagles, just to give a more practical take on how a club can engage with sustainability and start to drive those community and business benefits through the concept. Over to you, Mo.
Thank you, Robbie, and thank you for having me here today. Delighted to be here and talk to you and share more about what we're doing at Gleneagles. So we will kick off. So first of all, we are celebrating our centenary year this year. And over the last 100 years, our success is owed in no small part to the beautiful flora and fauna that surrounds us. We've got an 850-acre estate nestled in the heart of Perthshire. We've got 3 courses, 3 18-hole courses, plus another smaller 19-hole course, which we affectionately call the wee course. So we know that we have a responsibility to minimise our impact and protect these natural assets for future generations. So how are we doing that? We'll move on. The next slide. Thank you. Our sustainability strategy focuses around 3 pillars of responsibility. The first pillar, conserve nature. This is all to do with our green spaces, and it's very much a key component of our everything we're doing around sustainability. So a real focus on land and water stewardship and protecting and enhancing biodiversity. And I'll share more today about how we're doing that. I'll also touch on meaningful partnerships because that's very important for the business, and also touching a little bit more on net zero and climate change as well. So just to touch on that first, Robbie, if we go to the next slide. Thank you. So as Robbie mentioned earlier, climate change, we're facing an environmental crisis. Climate change is the biggest threat that we face as a business and as a society. And the science is clear that we have to reduce emissions at the pace and scale needed to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. So earlier this year, we as a business committed to reach net zero by 2040. So we need to actually take steps to permanently long-term reductions in our emissions over the next 16 years, and then offset no more than 10% of the remaining emissions that we can't eliminate. So it's across everything that we do. We're taking a holistic approach. No area of the business is untouched. We need to look at absolutely everything. So there are some things that you'll hear today as how we're working towards that. Next slide. So we'll start on our pillar, conserve nature. So first of all, land stewardship. We were fortunate to have the Ryder Cup in 2014 and the Solheim Cup in 2019 at Gleneagles. I think we'll all agree that great golfing experiences, whether playing or spectating, depend on nature. So it's vital for destinations like Gleneagles to acknowledge this link and to minimise our impact on the environment. We're very fortunate to have decades of experience between our greenkeepers and our gardeners across the estate. And we do work to maintain healthy plant and soil health through rigorous testing, and also using natural products where we can as well. So while we do need to treat the golf courses from time to time, we use natural products such as seaweed in the warmer months, which helps to maintain that really good soil bacteria as well. We've invested a lot in technology, so we have GPS sprayers, which help us spray any products we need to on the courses with pinpoint accuracy, so greater than 99% accuracy, and it prevents overspraying. But it also helps to reduce the amount of products that we use by up to 14%. So real commercial benefits there as well from that investment. Next slide, Robbie. And on water stewardship as well, I think water is one of the planet's most valuable resources, so we have to protect that for future generations, and we're looking at every possible way to do this right across all of our operations. This year, March, April time, we installed a new state-of-the-art irrigation system on our PGA course, and that will help us to reduce water consumption by up to 30%. Now, it's a challenge for us to just actually review and see have we actually met that target, because that's on a like-for-like basis. We know that the weather in Scotland is very changeable, so there's lots of variables, whether it's the daily rainfall, which we track every day and have done for the last 40 years, prolonged dry spells, but we know what this will give us is that resilience going forward to climate change. Water scarcity is a concern right across the planet. And it's no different in Scotland as well. So in the summer periods, as Robbie mentioned earlier, we will be seeing less rainfall and more challenging conditions to manage. We water our courses using dedicated boreholes and also on-site reservoirs. So that is helping us as well in terms of our resilience to climate change. The one thing I would say between the land and the water stewardship, in terms of the commercial side, this is really helping us to enhance play for our members, but it's also making sure that we're resilient to all the elements that the Scottish weather throws at us, and it's helping the course to remain open more days, which of course is a benefit to the business as well. Next slide. We've touched as well earlier on the webinar around biodiversity, and climate change and nature loss are inextricably linked. So we have been working with a local nature conservation experts, Forth Rivers Trust, and we developed a partnership with them this year, and we're working closely with them now over the next 3 years. So if we go to the next slide, in the summer we carried out a range of surveys to understand all the flora and fauna that we actually have thriving and abundant at Gleneagles, because it's really important to establish a baseline. So we wanted to know what we actually have. And some of the stats there in terms of the plants recorded, this was just across one day working with the ecologists across our estate. Now we're working with them to develop a 3-year biodiversity enhancement plan. And one of the things we're going to be doing is planting up to 3,000 trees over the next 3 years. And what that will do, it will help with natural flood management, but we're also planting and selecting trees that will provide an all year round food source for the variety of insects and mammals that we've got at Gleneagles. And we'll also be putting up bird and owl boxes, planting wildflower, but we're getting our people involved and also the local community involved in this tree planting. So we've got some planting activities planned for the start of February. There'll be an opportunity for everyone who works at Gleneagles to come out, get their wellies on, get back to nature, a bit of team building, support that health and well-being that Rima was talking about earlier. But we're working with our local primary school as well and giving them the opportunity to come and be part of this project too, because they also have a biodiversity project that they're working on at the moment as well. And one thing that Forth Rivers Trust has given us is they've given us a list of all the flora and fauna that we should look out for. And it's having that ability to then, whether it's our guests, our people, the local community, the local school, they can be part of a citizen science project and they can actually go out and have a walk and look for everything, tick them off and share this with us. And it helps our records as well. So all these steps that we're taking to protect and enhance biodiversity, we'll be able to know as we go over the years whether this is working. And then we'll repeat these surveys with Forth Rivers Trust again and see the impact that everything has had. Next slide. So collaborative working is really important for us. So this is John Deere. This is a long-term strategic partnership that the business has had since 2017. And what we're doing with them is we're really early adopters of this technology. We're helping them to test and learn, develop the product. We're putting it through its paces across our courses at Gleneagles and giving them feedback. But it's also giving us access to that technology. It's helping as part of our net zero transition. So it's a real opportunity to see just how collaborative working and meaningful partnerships can really help drive sustainability. And it will benefit everybody as well. Testing this technology, it'll be rolled out further, and it'll be accessed for everyone. So a really important partnership for the business. Next slide. Another partnership we've got is Easy Go. So we've got all 53 of our golf buggies and our operational vehicles as well are already fully electric, have been since 2019. Earlier this year, we've replaced the entire fleet as well. So now it's the second generation batteries. They're quicker to charge. They hold their charge for longer, but the vehicles are also lighter, so they're easier on the ground too. So we can see the benefits there for the business through that investment too. We do have a target wider across the Gleneagles estate for all of our company vehicles to be fully electric by 2030. So we're working through everything that we have and taking steps as vehicles are renewed to actually change into electric alternatives. Next slide. So our people are they're integral to the business and the success of Gleneagles. So we have a team of 72 across the golf courses. So we've got golf professionals, greenkeepers, mechanics, gardeners. And we as a business, we really want to nurture talent. And we have some apprenticeship programs as well. So in the picture there, you'll see Adam, our young apprentice mechanic. And he's been looked after by Ronnie. He's actually just finishing his second year apprenticeship. So we work with local colleges as well to give that real hands-on experience at Gleneagles, work in an operational role, seeing firsthand the benefits that the great work that that team is doing and how that's benefiting the golf course and the business and the operations as well. In addition, Gleneagles provides some great access to benefits for our people. So me, myself, I wasn't a golfer before. I joined Gleneagles in January and have since taken up golf and had lessons, and I am really enjoying it in terms of just getting out in the summer. As Rima was talking about, the health and the well-being aspects and the fitness, it's fantastic. Next slide. So just bringing a wee bit more into the community. So we obviously have the hotel as well. So we have a lot of guests coming to visit Gleneagles. We really want to share and educate that next generation. So we do have dedicated programs um, targeted with the little ones. So we've got our Little Glen Adventurers program, and we're just sharing that passion and that knowledge for the environment. We've got a bug garden, and it's really just helping the little ones to understand the importance of nature conservation and our planet and climate change, and making it accessible for all. Next slide. Also dotted around the golf courses, we've got these nature boards. So this is one beside our triple SI, a special scientific interest on the golf course. So it's just as people are walking around, whether it's the local community, our guests, our visitors, our members, it's just stopping and taking time to read the boards, understand what's there, why it's so important, why it's so special, what we're doing to protect it. And it's just communicating everything that we're doing around sustainability, and just helping everyone to understand the benefits that that has. Next slide. And this is Matthew Reid, one of our golf professionals, so we won't give him too much screen time. But um, there's lots of opportunities for engagement in the wider local community and with people of all ages, schools. And this is really just at the Academy, we're really focusing on growing the game, increasing accessibility to golf, to Gleneagles itself. And for example, our Gleneagles Foundation is not focused solely on finding the next talent, the next big talent in golf. It's also making sure that it's accessible to the people who are going to benefit from that most. That use those learnings in terms of social maturity. And then, the bottom, we still recognize that we've got commercial targets to meet. So again, there's ways that we help grow the game, learn and develop, but while also still providing excellent value for money. So that's a whistle-stop tour of everything that we're doing at Gleneagles, and happy to take any questions at the end. Thank you.
That's excellent. Thank you very much, Mo. Really appreciate that. And I think that was a very practical take on how we can start to integrate the health of the environment with aspects like player participation, worker retention, satisfaction, and also the different community and business benefits that spiral out of the back of that. So thank you very much. So in this next section, I'm just going to cover some of the key areas that we could focus on, you as a club could focus on when you're starting to try to integrate the environment with community and with the business. So I've split this into 3 rough areas. The first is governance, the second is education, and the third is communication. And these all link back to what Rahima was saying earlier around player participation and engagement, and also what Mo was saying around maybe building a strategy around sustainability, setting some targets and that sort of thing. So the first is governance. Now we see most of the golf courses that tend to excel at sustainability have some form of policy or strategy that really provides a sense of direction for them and helps to integrate sustainability considerations across key club and course operations. When you do this sort of thing, it can also help to generate marketing opportunities for you. So Market Harbour here, on the back of that policy launch that they did for the sustainability strategy, they were actually able to build effective partnerships, which included free expert guidance and financial benefit for the club. For instance, the Leicestershire and Rutland Wildlife Trust, after hearing about it, started to conduct a free plant and pond survey for the club. And they also provided a full report, including recommendations on habitat management. And there were also various other trusts, the Hawk and Owl Trust got involved. And the club were also able to receive materials at cost price from a local landscaping company. There's a lot of external benefits here from kind of building that strategy and then communicating that outwards. Likewise, in terms of internal governance and decision making, so Berkhamsted here, they essentially made sustainability one of its key pillars, a bit like what Mo mentioned, and as part of that process, they could recruited a sustainability champion within the membership, and they now chair a sustainability committee within the club. And that really helps to build staffing and resourcing around sustainability. Greenkeepers, if there are any on this webinar, I'm sure you'll agree that you're very busy and you're very agronomic focused, and you want to try and maintain the best possible playing conditions. And sustainability, it's much wider than that, and it encompasses aspects of the club. It encompasses staff and resourcing across all aspects of the club and course. So that putting together a volunteer position can really start to kind of bring these different threads together and help you to prioritize, plan, and implement and assess different initiatives. Likewise, I mean, that will depend on what clubs are on this webinar. If you don't have the budget, a volunteer position, other clubs recruit a sustainability manager or director like Mo at Gleneagles, but just having some resource in there can really help to maximise the different benefits. And linking back to what Rahima said around participation earlier, it's really useful to actually gather stakeholder feedback on the future direction of the club, whether that's around how they feel about adding more biodiversity to the golf course, how they would feel about more of a browner, drier playing condition if you want to pull back in irrigation. It's really important to get those different perspectives into future plans and projects. And likewise, Ashburnham here, they actually encompass sustainability into their player engagement, just to see how the club feel about the environment and where they should look to promote and protect that into the future. Next is education. So again, as Rahima said, it's really important to educate the members. It will help to build momentum and an understanding of the value of the different sustainability projects and practices. This area doesn't look messy because the greenkeeper's lazy. It looks like that because it's helping biodiversity, it's enhancing the playing experience, it's providing more value for the local community in terms of ecosystem services, or it could be, like Mo said, encompassing different citizen science projects to survey flora and fauna around the site. So being able to explain that to members is really important for gaining that traction. And of course, these education pieces could be linked to a sustainability strategy and emerge from that structure around a committee or a dedicated person at your golf course. And then likewise, as Mo said, community education, collaborating with local schools. When you create these areas, there's opportunities there to get local kids involved to help to build. It could be bug hotels, bird boxes, and also, again, to survey some of that flora and fauna. This is a great way, again, just to shift the perceptions of your golf course, but also actually to bring in the future generations of players. When these kids are on the golf course, they'll be really interested in the game, and they might look to get involved in your junior programs or offerings and memberships for them. And it's also a great way of building life skills as well in different age groups. Likewise, linking back to Mo, I know Gleneagles have got a fantastic apprenticeship programme and lots of opportunities for professional development, and a lot of that's built around sustainability principles. So again, if there's ways to use sustainability to either attract staff to your golf course or to upskill the staff at your golf course and also provide them a more exciting career path with different opportunities to branch out. I'd done a bit of work at a golf course during my PhD, and the staff there, they really enjoyed the focus on sustainability because there was more to it than just mowing the fairways every day. They had opportunities to go out and do some surveys to help building the bird boxes, to helping manage different habitats around the site. So it provides more variety in terms of what some of the staff at your golf facility can do. And likewise, there's more and more opportunities in terms of some of the different technologies that are coming in certain places in the world. We're moving towards more high-tech precision machinery, data management, different modeling and that sort of thing. So it can actually make golf and your golf club a more attractive place to work and thrive and grow throughout your career. And finally, communications, super important. So it links back to the Margaret Harborough example earlier, but being able to actually display your commitment, tell people your story and show what you're doing around environment and community. It can help to really reposition your golf course, remarket your golf course as this very progressive, modern place to play, a place that really gets it and is thinking about the future and the next generation. So Headford, I'll cover the pledge that we offer at GEO later in the presentation, but they essentially put their sustainability pledge on a big screen, and it's a really great way to market what they're doing around the golf course. Likewise, if you're doing stuff around habitat and biodiversity, there's a really unique opportunity there to start to market that as well. Clubs like Shiskin, Machrihanish Dunes, and Askernish have all done a really great job of marketing the natural, authentic playing experiences that they provide, and that kind of offers them a competitive advantage. I know a lot of people from southwest Scotland, and a lot of people from all over the world love come to play Shiskin. It's just a 12-hole golf course. It's super natural, and it offers something different to the typical golf courses that you tend to see on televised events. And likewise, Machrihanish were able to receive recognition and publicity through different awards and press releases on the back of their approach to sustainability. So, good question is how you could actually use sustainability at your golf club to stand out from competitors. What projects, initiatives, or features could you add to your golf course? And how could you actually start to incorporate that into sustainability messaging and branding? And again, on the back of it, there's a lot of different benefits. And one is in particular is around tourism. So Lahinch here, with their sustainability credentials, were able to get involved in an ecotourism network, and that has potential for exposure from national and international tourism bodies. So I know that bodies like Visit Scotland now have started to list green, sustainable businesses that have went through a recognised green certification scheme. So as the home of golf, I think golf courses in this country have a really significant opportunity to start to think about how you could market that and get involved with different tourism networks and bodies to, again, sell your green credentials for enhanced participation and health benefits. Okay, moving on to support. So I've got about 10 minutes left. So the last webinar in this series is going to go a very deep dive into the sustainability programs and pathways that we offer at GEO Foundation, but I'll skim over some of the stuff that we offer that you can start to use to enhance these community and business benefits on the back of sustainability. So the first, and we showed it on the screen earlier, is the Sustainable Golf Pledge. This is totally free to sign up to. Essentially, you give us your email address and we'll email you this certificate. And it really provides a clear direction of travel for your golf facility on sustainability and climate action based on the Sustainable Golf Framework that we covered in the first webinar, and that's fostering nature, conserving resources, taking climate action, and strengthening the community through those different efforts. And it also helps, as we saw, to build public relations and has a reputational and marketing benefits when you actually display that and share that with players at your club and also the wider community as well. The next is On Course, which is again a totally free sustainability and climate action program specifically tailored for golf facilities. And On Course really provides a clear framework for you to start to understand and plan for continuous improvement across those three key areas: nature, resources, and community. It has structured best practice checklists and performance indicators, which are really closely aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals that Rahima was talking about earlier. So again, that can help you to start to review, improve, and communicate your performance in different areas. And it also includes tons of materials and guidance on outreach, engagement, and communications for your golf facility as well. So again, I would encourage you to even just to sign up. It's totally free and you can have a look. It's a really good way of building this sustainability strategy for your club as well. When you join On Course, you're then added to the Sustainable Golf Leaderboard. So this is again, free profile page, and it's a publicly accessible directory that essentially shows golf facilities that are involved in sustainability in our programs around the world. That page, and this is Gleneagles one on the right-hand side, it has your Sustainable Golf Pledge on it. It has any highlights that you've submitted to the highlights hub down below, and it also includes any certifications that you've been awarded as well with those certification reports. And you can link to that profile page from your website, and you can also add it into any emails and things like that so that people and those that you're contacting are able to see what you're doing around sustainability. And it's a great way of shifting those perceptions. And when you work through On Course and you populate it with the data, we can then provide a free Sustainable Golf scorecard for you. It's a great way. It has a carbon footprint as well. It's a great way to identify opportunities, efficiencies, and identify areas to promote or improve around your golf facility. It's also a great way of illustrating the positive social, community, and nature value that you offer. It includes these little infographics on the bottom right that you can see, and you can add them again to your social media, to newsletters, and to again gain those marketing benefits for your golf club. And when going through on course, that's the application method for GEO certified. So we essentially ask you just to review those best practice checklists. Some of them are marked with a green flag, and those are the ones that are required for certification. And also to provide 1 year of annual data. That's around things like your water consumption, pesticide consumption, your landscape, how much your golf course landscape is nature, all those sorts of key indicators. And then once you've done that, you can apply to become GEO certified, which is essentially a world-leading sustainability recognition for your golf facility. And that has enhanced funding and marketing opportunities for you as well. When you get certified, you're given a marketing guide, which helps you to share that again with your golf facility and also more widely through press releases and different social media communications. And it also comes with third-party verification. So when a third-party network of experts around the world, they'll come to your golf facility as part of that certification, review what you're doing, and also give you recommendations and points to improve into the future. So it's a really good way of getting practical advice as well. And the certification, very achievable in the first instance. It includes a commitment to continuous improvement through those improvement points that your verifier identifies for you. And you can also order flags and things like that on the back of it to communicate that out the way. And as I said, we'll cover this in significantly more depth in the last webinar. And you can also access more support around governance, participation, and planning through Scottish Golf. They've got an absolutely brilliant website covering all aspects of club support and sustainability. They've got various tools and templates on sustainable business planning, how to build a good governance structure around the club and including sustainability. They've also got a newly appointed network of regional development managers. There's one for every key area of Scotland. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's 16 around Scotland now. So they're a great way, again, of getting that advice in your golf club and starting to build some structure around sustainability. So I would recommend getting in touch with your regional development manager if you haven't already. And Scottish Golf also offer a significant range of funding and support around all aspects of participation for adult players, female players, and junior players as well. And finally, discounted subscription for Players First. Now, this links back to what Rahima was saying and what I was saying around engaging your players. So Players First, I think, are basically the world leader in player surveys. So get a player survey out to your membership base and you'll start to receive feedback on what you're doing well and where you could start to improve. So that's a great way of just understanding where you're at. And you can also encompass more sustainability-based questions in there as well, to build that participation and gather various perspectives around the concept. That was a very whistle-stop tour of the pathway. As I say, we'll delve significantly more deeply into it in the last webinar. As a next step, I would encourage you all to scan the QR code on the right-hand side to sign the pledge and join on course. Again, totally free, and that will automatically generate you that profile page on the Sustainable Golf Leaderboard. You can also access the examples that are covered through the Sustainable Golf Highlights Hub, and that's just the link to the Scottish Golf website. And the final webinar, we'll go through this last part of the presentation in more detail and let you know what would be required to work towards certification for your own golf facility. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and more than happy to take any questions alongside Rahima and Mo.
Good stuff, Robbie. Thanks for that. And thanks also to Mo and Rahima. Fascinating stuff. So thank you very much for your contribution. One thing that sort of sprung to my mind, Robbie, Mo, and Rahima, is that there's probably a fine line between golf being seen as a sport and being seen as a sort of community asset beyond the club membership. And it's trying to bring the wider community through those gates and into the golf club to use the course, not just for golfing recreation, but also to see it as part of a sort of community structure. Mo, in particular, Gleneagles is obviously an international resort, but from what you're saying, you do have strong ties to the community in Auchterarder and roundabout. And I just wonder, from your perspective, why is that so important? I can understand it perhaps from a smaller golf club's perspective, that they're trying to be part of that local community. But an international brand like Gleneagles, why do you see that as important?
I just think it's really important that we as a business we give back to the local community, whether it's, through local employment, access for local community to come and enjoy Glen Eagles, to walk through the estate. It's just really important that we feel embedded within our local community, and we're working to have that positive impact really within the community. So that's why we involve the local schools. We've got other projects that we're just starting, which we'll be sharing more information about soon in the local community, working with other local organisations. We've got various different clubs, charity partnerships. Um, we are in Perthshire, and it's a very, very special place. So we want to look after it, protect it. We've got partnership, for example, with Perth and Kinross Countryside Trust, so our guests can get involved in that as well. So when they stay, they pay a small donation on the room charge. And over the last 15 years, that partnership with them, we've raised over £325,000, which has gone, we're right in the middle of big tree country. It's gone to protect some of the Perthshire's most protected trees, and really just help protect and enhance biodiversity, and making sure that everyone around Perthshire and our local community has that to enjoy for all future generations.
Robbie, I'm thinking on a smaller scale. Remember Anne and Hill from our last webinar, who obviously have done great work in the southwest, in your part of the world, to bring the wider community to the golf course, but not necessarily to play golf, to appreciate nature, to use cycle tracks, to walk around the golf course. And as you say, perhaps the spin-off from that is that further down the line, either these individuals or their kids or other family members see the golf club as more than just a setting for established golfers. It's somewhere that they can go as a family, and it's somewhere that they perhaps consider joining in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where public golf has a real opportunity to step into this space, because Annan Hill is a municipal golf course run by East Ayrshire Leisure Trust on behalf of the council, and it's right in the middle of a housing estate. It's got a local school next to it, and they really embraced that position through that project. So the main focus was nature restoration, and for everyone's information, it was through the Nature Scott Restoration Fund, so they were able to uh, receive funding for that project. So they started with the nature and then built those community benefits in and around that project. So they've now got a wildflower path that's used by local dog walkers. It's used by the local school kids. Now got a resident otter in one of their ponds. It helped to reduce their flooding. So there were a number of co-benefits around that project. And I think that's where golf courses in and around residential areas can play a really, really strong role and start to open up. And as Rahima mentioned, start to engage community members in different ways at different stages.
Yeah, spot on. Okay, listen, I'm conscious of the time. We've just about used up our hour. So if there's nothing else to add, first of all, just say thank you for attending today's webinar. Hope you've enjoyed the session. Thanks to Robbie, to Mo, and to Rahima for their expert contribution. If you need more information, as Robbie said, contact us here at Scottish Golf. The best email address is clubsupport@scottishgolf.org. We'll be in touch with you to answer any questions you have. As a follow-up to the webinar, I'll make sure that all the slides are sent around the attendees so that you can look through them at your leisure. You'll be able to see the recording again on the Scottish Golf website. It'll be up in the next couple of days. And that's it for today. So once again, thank you for attending. Hope you can attend webinar 5, which we'll publicise in the very near future. But until then, thanks again and enjoy the rest of your day.